Hey everybody, welcome to The Right Side with Doug Billings. Thank you for watching. Today, a real special day for us here on The Right Side. We have Kansas City legend and former Kansas City TV weatherman, Mike Thompson. Mike Thompson is now a Kansas State Senator representing District 10 here in Kansas. That's basically all of Shawnee, Kansas, and a little bit of Lake Quivira in Johnson County, Kansas. We are just absolutely thrilled to have Mike on the program. I have seen him on local television for years and have never really had the opportunity to meet him until today, and I was thoroughly impressed with what he had to say. We talk about the importance of this election, the progressive movement to further deteriorate our morals and our ethics in this country, and how we have to combat that. We also talk about Governor Laura Kelly. You've heard me say it before on this program. She's a socialist, and she needs to be stopped, and she needs to be controlled. Mike Thompson will give his take and opinions about what the Kansas State Senate can do about that, and the legislature in general, what they can do. And we'll also talk about the issues that he has heard that are most important among his constituents as he walks miles and miles and goes door to door in District 10. Ladies and gentlemen, right here on The Right Side with Doug Billings, our interview with Senator Mike Thompson, coming up right now. Hey everybody, welcome to The Right Side with Doug Billings. A big day for us here on The Right Side. We have former Kansas City weatherman turned Kansas State Senator, and we're going to find out what the heck went on there. Mike Thompson is here with us today.
Doug,
Mike, thank you.
Oh, it is my pleasure. I don't look like a senator right now. I literally just came off the campaign trail.
Well, I know you did. You were walking the beat.
I was in the rain today,
yeah,
believe it or not. So that's why I look like.
Did you know the rain was coming?
I did. But we went. You know, I've got some great volunteers.
Yeah.
And they've been out there with me for 5.5 months.
Yeah.
Pounding the pavement every day. We've gone through the district almost twice.
Right. Wow.
And that's a lot. Wow. And I've seen neighborhoods that I never knew existed in some of these places.
Do you carry a Fitbit? I bet you got your steps
I
in
should.
today.
I know I'm getting 6 to 8 miles a day.
Oh my gosh.
Easily.
That's incredible.
It's a lot.
I mean, that's a lot of work.
You know what? You meet a lot of great people.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that they're hearing that, because, you know, people just don't really know. They might think you knock on a few doors every day.
Oh, no.
I don't think they know the extent to which you're out there.
Yeah. And it's interesting because of my background on television, a lot of people don't expect me to show up at their door, and I've had a lot of people thank me for the fact that I'm doing the work.
Yeah.
And I think that they like to see that a candidate, that somebody who's out there, is actually putting in the time.
Yeah.
And because it shows them that we're willing to work for them.
Yes.
And that we're serious about it.
Yeah.
And
sure.
I'm serious about it.
I believe it.
You know, we can go into all sorts of avenues.
I believe it. I think that, you know, we already admired you for your weatherman skills. Now that you're a Republican candidate, we like him even more. So they're going on.
And that's fun.
Well, but you represent Senate District number 10
Correct.
In the state of Kansas. So explain to us, describe what is the District 10?
Senate District 10 is all of Shawnee. We have a little bit of Lake Quivira, and that's on the Johnson County side, and we have a little bit of Merriam and a little bit of Overland Park.
Okay.
There's about 5 districts or 5 precincts in Overland Park and a couple in Merriam.
All right.
Or no, flip that. 2 in Overland Park, 5 in Merriam.
Gotcha.
So it's of course, the Senate district now is just under 70,000 people, and so that's a lot of folks to represent and a lot of folks to get out and talk to.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Well, okay, a step back. Why from television weather and a little bit of radio weather to running for the Senate? There must have been something that you noticed that you wanted to address as a senator. What pulled you in that direction?
I can tell you initially, I never anticipated being in politics.
Yeah,
I didn't think it would happen. There have been times I've toyed with the idea because my wife and I have always followed politics all our married life. We've been married 44 years.
Congratulations.
We've got 9 grandkids and 1 great grandson.
Wonderful.
And to a large degree, I think it's I'm worried about the future. Yeah. I'm worried about what our kids are going to grow up with. You know, you think back to when we were young, and the America we grew up in,
Mm-hmm.
and the freedoms that we had. And now you look, those freedoms have been chipped away at gradually over time, and that's how progressives work. They
Yes.
progressively take away your liberties. It's a conditioning to become complicit, a
Right.
conditioning
Right.
to this is the new normal.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's been on an accelerated path over the
Right.
last
Yeah.
6 to 8 months. And so when the opportunity for this came, I thought, here's an opportunity that not everybody gets, first of all, because a former senator wanted to retire.
Mm-hmm.
She and I knew each other. We go to the same church,
Mm-hmm.
and she asked if I would consider it.
Okay.
And so for my wife and I literally thought and prayed about this for about 6 months.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Thought, gosh, it's scary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's one thing to be talking about weather. It's a happy kind of subject most of the time,
Yeah.
but this covers a lot of territory, a lot of ground, a lot of subjects that are contentious. And so I thought, I need to do this. I need to do it for my kids, my grandkids,
Mhm.
my family,
Right.
and everybody else's family too, because I want our future generations to have an America at least
I understand.
as good as what we grew up
Right,
in.
right.
Actually, I would like to see it more like the 1950s.
Yes. Yes.
In some
yes,
respects,
Yes.
in terms of freedom.
Yeah.
So that's why I made that switch. I just and we pray every day for this country.
Right, and I do too. Well, so Mike, as you're out walking all of these miles, and you're knocking on doors, and you've got your campaign active and engaged in the community, what are the 1 or 2 or 3 things that you're hearing from the voters and your constituents? What are they telling you?
Well, I mean, this coronavirus thing
Yeah.
has been an interesting issue because it's created a lot of division.
Yeah.
You got people who have listened to certain media outlets that have them scared to death,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't know who to believe. And that's an issue that you never know where people are going to go on that,
Mhm.
from the masking to the social distancing to how do we get back to normal. That comes up some.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't think it's the primary thing,
Mhm.
believe it or not.
Yeah.
For some people it is with kids.
Yes.
How do we get
Sure.
these kids back to school? How do we get them back to normal? I get some parents who are scared to death to send the kids to school,
Yeah.
and some parents who say if we don't get them back to school, it's so detrimental to their
Yeah.
mental health
Yes.
and their education and everything else. In some regards, not sending them back to certain schools is probably a good thing.
Yes. Yes.
Because I've heard from in fact,
Yeah.
I ran across a former teacher today in the school district in my district that is terribly concerned over what we're teaching our kids.
Oh yes.
And I mean, she was dismayed. So that's one issue, the coronavirus education. Property taxes in Johnson County are huge. I know you hear that about that a lot, but
Yeah.
I particularly hear that from the older folks
Yeah.
who realize they've paid off their house, and all of a sudden the property tax is their biggest bill
Exactly.
every year.
Exactly.
How can I stay in
Yeah.
my house?
Yeah.
Sales tax in our district, because of some of these TIFs,
Yes.
sales tax is over 10%,
Yeah.
including on food. And with the inflation that we have, and it's hidden inflation.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the core CPI that's reported is not.
Not it.
I don't know. There's a guy named John Williams who has a website called Shadow Stats. I don't
Okay.
know if you ever.
I have not. No.
And he calculates inflation the formula they used back in the 1970s.
Okay.
Okay, before they started manipulating it.
Yes. Right.
So right now they don't count energy or staples, food prices
goodness,
in inflation, and those are some of the two most inflated things that we
Right.
have. So our true inflation rate, we know, is probably over 11 to 12%. And how do people survive on a fixed income? So that's a big thing with property tax, sales tax. Those are big things. And my biggest concern, which I don't hear a lot, but I do from business owners, is the utilities.
Okay.
There's a guy who owns a manufacturing plant in my district. He said if I moved across the state line to Missouri, I would save $5 million in electrical
Oh my goodness.
a year
Wow.
per year.
Wow.
And he says, I don't know how long they can take it. I know Goodyear down in southern Kansas has a huge plant down there, and they're facing the same kind of problems with electrical rates. Are we going to run these people out?
Okay.
And then Kansas is the 5th highest tax state in the union, behind New York, Pennsylvania, Illinois, and Connecticut.
Grief.
And we don't have beaches. We don't, we're not a big tourism center.
Right.
How do we draw people to Kansas? How do we make this a thriving economy? So these are all big issues.
Wow. And it kind of dovetails into another topic I want to talk about with regards to the governor. What can Kansas senators like you do? I think she's a socialist, Mike. I mean, our governor, and I think that she needs to be controlled.
Right.
How can the Senate and the legislature control this governor?
Well, we've got to get a veto-proof majority first and foremost, because this year, as a new senator, there's a little bit of a learning curve. You get in there, you learn all the rules of the Senate and how it all works. But I got up to speed very quickly, and it's clear that it's hard to do anything unless you've got the pressure to push back. With that, I'm on the special committee for the Emergency Management Act to amend that. It's called KEMA, Kansas Emergency Management Act. And we spent 6 days studying that problem in Topeka this over the course of this summer, and we came up with 36 recommendations. The primary thing is, going forward, we want to amend that statute so that no future governor can do what this governor has done.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And my idea, and I got a lot of cooperation, people thought it was a good idea, was that we approach it 2 different ways. Number one, you either take that statute. Most emergencies are for natural disasters.
Sure.
That's what it was originally designed for. Tornadoes, things like that. My idea was you create a second section for just human pandemics.
Okay.
And then put the clamps down on what a governor can do.
Okay.
Some other people thought maybe we just do all emergencies by a time basis, because there's only been a few statewide emergencies. Well, 2 statewide emergencies in the history of Kansas.
Oh yeah. Okay.
One was COVID, and one was an ice storm.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Oh my
so
goodness.
Only 2. So either way we do it. My idea is that you limit you give the governor initially a response time, say 7 days, because in 7 days you can figure out quite a bit.
Sure.
No business should have been deemed non-essential.
Okay.
Every business should have stayed
Yeah.
open,
Yeah.
because every business I know could have adapted the same way a Price Chopper, a Home Depot, or whatever did. So, okay, give a governor a response time, 7 days, 14 days max.
Okay.
State Finance Council, the way it's written in Kansas, is the next line of defense. It's the leadership of the Senate, it's the leadership of the House, and it's the governor sits as the head of the State Finance Council.
Yeah.
So she can veto anything. Okay, take away that veto power so the State Finance Council can have some say and expand the numbers of the State Finance Council so we get from every portion of the state is represented on there.
Okay.
Because Western Kansas was not affected by this at all. Okay.
Yeah.
And then after a certain short period of time, force the legislature to come back. That should not be an option. It should come back so every voice can be heard.
Yeah.
Everybody can be represented.
Right.
And I think we could have shut this thing down and done it a lot differently had that been the case. So if we can get that through, I think that will create some certainty for businesses and for people, so they know, okay, there is a set plan. Here's what's going to happen. Here's who we talk to get this thing fixed. Because uncertainty is the biggest killer of the economy. And you look at what we've got. We've got businesses are still struggling, even though they've opened back up. You've got the school situation where people, some of these school boards have been unwilling to take a stand and make good decisions about these kids. And you've got doctors who they are using as experts who are unwilling to make a judgment call.
Yes.
And so you got nobody who has the guts to make a call and say, no, we need to get back to work. We need to get this.
Yeah.
So
I think that's going to resonate, and people are going to love to hear that. And we can't go through this again, Mike.
No, we cannot.
But let me circle back to property tax.
Okay.
So you mentioned property tax for the elderly, for example, their mortgages if their house is paid off. What's your gut check on the Senate and the legislature in Topeka? I mean, do you think that's doable? Do you think you might be able to carve out a section and say, hey, for those that are retired, you don't have to pay?
We passed 2 property tax bills this year, and they both got vetoed. They were both common sense. They were patterned after a law in Utah. One was if you did just normal maintenance on your home, so you paint the house, you had to put a roof on, that they could not raise the assessment. Okay.
Yeah.
So in other words, you get a de facto increased property taxes through assessment. The other was making it so that if the county commissioners were going to talk about a property tax increase, they were required to have a public hearing and vote right there in front of the people. In Utah, it shut it down because nobody wants to vote for a tax increase in front of a house full of people. But that being said, I do think we need to do something because whether we can make it so that after a certain age they don't have to pay the property tax, or if they can't pay the property tax, that they cannot be kicked out of their house. To me, that's just sad. And you run into a lot of widows, and they're on a fixed income. And let them live in that house, and then if it has to come out of their estate later on, whatever.
So be it.
So be it. So something like that. I'm for that. I just you don't want to see anybody lose their home.
That'll make a lot of the folks out there feel good. I know.
Well, and even property tax you pay it in December and May. Well, maybe we at least give anybody the option to pay it incrementally during the year rather than have to come up with a lump sum. I don't know. Anything we can do, we will do. And if we can figure out a way to get it through, after age 65 or something, somebody, it makes it eases some of the burdens. It's got to be done.
I agree, and that's good to hear, Mike. Well, so before we go, I want to give you a chance to talk to the viewers and the listeners out there. We're on podcast, we're on the video on YouTube, and so forth. What's your pitch? What's your appeal to the voters? What do you what's your closing statement, Mike?
Goodness, obviously these are big issues. I'm used to. As a meteorologist, I'm used to juggling a lot of variables. I'm used to very complex problems, and to me, I think that kind of fits with what I've done over the years. The ability to communicate with people and work with people, I think, also is a big plus. In the Senate, you've got to work with a lot of varying people. I've always been able to do that over the course of the years and try to come to good solutions. So I think those things, being transparent. I've got a website that talks about every vote I made, so that people can find out what's happening in Topeka, and I want to be accessible. I'm their voice in Topeka.
What's your website?
It's MikeThompsonForKansas.com.
Right.
And we have an email, free email newsletter that we send out periodically. Again, and a Facebook page. So that. You can go to the MikeThompsonForKansas.com and find all of that information. I want people to see what we're voting on, what are the big issues, and have the ability to weigh in. And that's something I'm not afraid of. So I really want to be a conduit to folks so that they can find out what's happening and help me, because obviously I can't be an expert in everything. And I run across people who know a lot about specific subjects. I'm trying to soak it in from all sides. I have the ability to do that. So I think it's those sorts of things, and just what I've done in the public eye over the course of many years. I know how to do that. Well, so I think that's it.
Good. No, I was telling Mike when we were prior to coming on the air that I loved him as a weatherman, and now that he's on the right side as a Republican, I love him even more. But we've always enjoyed watching you on television. We have a lot of people here in our family grew up watching you, and I just want to let everyone. We fully endorse Mike Thompson for the Kansas Senate from District 10, and we wish you all the best in your re-election. We hope that you you're going to come away with a win. We really feel good about it.
We feel good about it. We do. I mean, we've talked to a lot of folks. We had a great primary win. We won 73 to 27. It was a strong win there, and hopefully that'll translate to the general election, and then we can get to work. And I've got a list of things I want to work on.
Good. Awesome.
I got them.
Good.
All over the place.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Thompson for Kansas.com. The Kansas State Senator from District 10, Mike Thompson, is here on the right side with Doug Billings. We couldn't have asked for a better guest today. We hope that you we reach out to him via his website, MikeThompsonForKansas.com, and find out how to contact him on all of the social media platforms that are out there. Mike, God bless you, man.
Thank you.
Yep,
You
good
too,
luck.
Doug.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. This is Doug Billings on the right side. So long.